Isn't that what men do? Why are people upset that he's picked up so many different women? He was HIV positive. Women are going to be more susceptible to him just because he's white. Like, let's be honest, right? We all do things. We're adults here, right? We all do things. It opens up the door for trafficking, people coming in and abusing women. I don't think you can be upset just because he's picking up women. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so in today's video, I want us to talk about the Russian man who came to Ghana and filmed the Ghanaian women. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have heard about this story that's been circulating. Now, there's been so many different schools of thoughts on as to why this has become such a big issue. Now, I just want to talk about a couple of the schools of thought. Now, the first one, some people believe that he did no wrong because it's content, and so he's just, you know, had it been something else, had he been filming, I don't know, something like, I don't know, like a meal in a restaurant or something like, and posted it and it went viral, no one would have said anything. Some people say that, you know, he's actually bringing tourism to Ghana. He's exposing the beauty, the beautiful women, the culture. So some people are angry that he has filmed these women without their consent, and he's posted it to other platforms and he's making money out of it. Now, I just want to say that it has been established that this content was filmed last year, I believe March 2025. But the videos are just now going viral. So if you haven't seen, in case you haven't seen what's been going on, he basically walks up to women in random places. It can be a mall, outside, literally anywhere, a bus stop, anywhere, and asks them, oh, what's your name? What are you doing? He does ask for their age. I've noticed that he asks for their age, and he was like, oh, I would like to get to know you more. And then the conversation kind of goes like that. And then in the video, you'll see him then take them to his hotel room, wherever he's staying, and then, you know, they have a good time or whatever it is. Now, a lot of the outcry has been that how has this man been able to pick up so many women within such a short period of time so easily? Now, some would argue that, well, isn't that what men do? Why are people upset that he's picked up so many different women? Like, it's not against the law to go around and pick up women. These women have consented to having sex with him, so what's the problem? He doesn't, just because he picks up a woman doesn't mean that he has to marry them. Fair play, I guess. But for a lot of people, the main issue is that they were filmed without their consent. Now, I did see a video on Instagram recently that said that he was HIV positive. I don't know. I can't speak to the results of that. And then apparently I heard that one of the women who was in the video actually committed suicide. Again, I'm not 100% sure about that, because sometimes these things become sensationalized when they go viral, right? Nobody really knows exactly what happens without a thorough investigation happening. Sometimes people mix up different stories, and so it can get confusing. So I'm not sure if this woman did commit suicide. If she did, that's very, very sad. I'm not sure if he does have HIV. I don't know. Like, nothing has been confirmed, completely confirmed. So we don't know those facts for sure. But I want to address a couple of these schools of thoughts on it, right? Because I have my own personal thoughts. Now, I believe that if these women are consenting to having sex with him, I don't see what the issue is. It's up to them. And let's not pretend that... And I think a lot of people are mad as well because he's a white man and he has been able to pick up so many women so easily, where, you know, a lot of other men, Ghanaian men, black men, whatever, you know, you try to talk to these women and they're like, you know, you get shunned, but this man is just doing it with so much ease. And we know what the reason is. We know it's because he's a white man, and so it's easier for him to pick up women because women are going to be more susceptible. That's just how it is, whether we like it or not, right? Women are going to be more susceptible to him just because he's white, and they believe that, you know, if they can get access to this white man, that, you know, it can turn their life around. And I'm sure, and I'm not saying it's right, this is just a school of thought, some people believe that, you know, if I get this opportunity to be with this white man, you know, he's going to take care of me, my life is going to turn around, And for some of us, if we were in certain positions in life, we would probably take that opportunity too, if we, you know, have the ability to be introspective and look at what we would be like if we didn't have the lifestyle that we have now, right? So there's that. And so I can understand why some men would be upset, why it would trigger some people, because they have to put in, sometimes you have to put in a lot of work. But you also have to understand the types of women that he was going for are very random women. I don't think they are of, how do I say it without being rude? I don't think they are of a certain standing, and so therefore it was easier for him to get them, as opposed to trying to get this beautiful woman, this woman that's hanging out at like top restaurants. You know what I'm saying? That you're gonna have to put more work into that. So a man like him, if he was to approach one of those women that goes to these top restaurants, then the outcome wouldn't necessarily have been the same. So you kind of like have to balance things out. I don't know what I was gonna do, 6, 7, that stupid thing that people do. But anyway, I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. But anyway, so that's what some people are mad about, right? Now, then there is the issue of consent, which is huge. Now, if these women have been filmed without the consent, of course it's wrong, especially if he's using that content and taking it into other platforms to go and sell, and he's making money out of it, and these women are unaware of what's happened. That's not fair, right? Because I'm sure they didn't consent to that. Now, in Ghana, we have to understand there's a cultural thing. The fact that these women, their faces were shown, the shame that comes along with that, from having their friends, their family, their co-workers seeing this footage of them. Like, let's be honest, right? We all do things. We're adults here, right? We all do things. When you are at home with your partner, when you are feeling a certain way, we all do things. None of us here is innocent, right? But we don't expect that it's going to be filmed and somebody's making money out of it, right? We don't necessarily expect for those things to happen. Hey, if they consented, then that's a different ball game. But if they were not aware that the camera was there and they did not consent to that, then that's a different matter. Okay, that's a different matter altogether. But the thing is, the shame that has been brought around Ghanaians, I would say, when we look at the Ghanaian culture, there's something that you have to understand, right? Whereas a lot of us from the West, right, when something happens, we can blow it off. Say, for example, I don't know, like a sex video comes out of you or something like that, something crazy like that, right? For the most part, you can be like, yeah, I did it. It's not like you guys ain't did it. Like, yeah, I did it. In Ghana, it's not as clear cut as that. Of course, and I'm not saying in the West there's no shame attached to it. There would be some shame, because no one wants a video like that to come out of them that they were not aware of, right? But in Ghana, if a video like that comes out of you, the shame from your family is, it can be very, very heavy on you. Like, it's something that people just won't forget. You're going to get looks, people talking about you. It's like, how are you now going to find a husband when now, you know, they've seen you in this compromising position. They've seen how easy it is for someone to pick you up. Like, which man now wants to attach themselves to a woman that has done that within the Ghanaian culture? Nobody wants to do that. And so it now is a level of shame for these people that it's a lot. Now, if the woman did unalive herself, then I don't agree with that, and I pray that it didn't happen. But if it did, I can understand some of the rationale that would revolve around why she would have thought to take that decision, because it's huge. It's almost like the Indians, right? Like the dishonor, the shame that you've brought, right? You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. And so I can understand why it would be so disturbing for videos and images of people to come out like that. Ghanaian culture is very, very strong. Like, I'm trying my best to try and explain what the Ghanaian culture is and why these videos that came out of these women are so damaging. It's very difficult to explain, because you really have to deep dive into the culture. But it's just a shameful thing to have happened to you. Like, if that happens to you in Ghana, to come back from that is very, very difficult. That is going to stay with you for a very, very long time. In the West, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, who cares? After some time, it's like, who cares? But in Ghana, it will follow you pretty much for the rest of your life. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's not something that people would want to attach them to. But anyway, so the other school of thought that people have, which is, you know, he's filmed his content, you know, people do it all the time, like why is it an issue? Like the biggest issue, like I said already, is around consent. And even if consent was had, the fact some people feel like it wasn't fair because he's making money off these women, and you know, they don't know how much money. It's like he's used them for the content and he hasn't paid them. Now obviously that can be a bit of a gray area, because you know, some of us were content creators. I invite someone here, let's do an interview, my interview goes viral and I make $100,000 from it. Should I have paid the person that I did the interview with? Do you know what I'm saying? People will have different schools of thoughts on it, right? So there's that aspect. So there's that aspect that's a little bit grey. But I think if he was going to shoot the content for OnlyFans or whatever it was, then I think it would have only been fair for him to have let these women that know that this is what he's doing. But again, none of us was there. We can only speculate as to what had happened, okay? So now what's happened after this whole aftermath, and the videos are now going viral from last year. They say they don't believe that the man is still in Ghana. Ghana is actually calling for him to be brought back to Ghana so that they can arrest him and deal with him appropriately. He's done the same thing in Kenya as well. So he's been to Kenya. He's now come to Ghana. Who knows if he's even done any other African countries? We don't know. We just don't know. Okay. So now Ghana has updated their cybersecurity laws. So they brought a new law of 2020 that says, you know, filming somebody without their consent is against the law. And so they're going to use some of these laws to punish the guy, I guess, or, you know, whatever's going to happen next. I don't know. But it's become a viral case now where the world is now interested in what's been happening. And although I do agree that yes, there definitely should be some tightening of rules when it comes to things like this, because again, some will argue that, you know, it opens up the door for trafficking, people coming in and abusing women, which yes, is true, and yes, it does go on throughout the world. These things do exist, you know. I'm trying to choose my words very carefully. These things do exist, but I don't think you can be upset just because he's picking up women. I don't think that there's a law against picking up a different woman every night. I'm not saying that you should do it. Morally, it's perhaps not right, but legally, is it wrong? You know? And so that's the thought that some people have on it. But yes, there definitely is an issue of exploitation, opening up Ghana to all kinds of predators and things like that. You know, it happens, and unfortunately the financial position that people are in sometimes allows them to be more susceptible to falling and finding themselves wrapped up in some of these things that go on. But it's a shame that these women have been put in this position, because it is really not nice. I wouldn't like it if it happened to me. I wouldn't like it if it happened to somebody that I knew. None of us would like it, right? It's not a nice thing. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, these women went to his house with free will. And you might think that that sounds harsh. Recording aside, they did go there. They went there free will. They had a good time. You can see some of the videos. You know, they're having a good time. They were having drinks, whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the night was on him pretty much. And so, yeah, he shouldn't have filmed it, but they did have a good time. They were consenting adults. But again, the issue is a little bit deeper than that. So I don't want to trivialize it, but there's certain schools of thoughts that I don't necessarily agree with, and some that I do agree with. But I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section about what's going on. You know, I don't believe this is the first case that something like this has even ever happened. This is probably like one of the first ones that just gone viral. I'm sure women have been exploited, or you know, It's happened worse, right? What about if the roles were reversed? What about if it was a white woman coming and sleeping with all these men? Would the outrage that's happening be the same? Because sometimes in life, you know, we have double standards about things. You know, when it's a man doing it, it's exploitation. When it's a woman doing it, you know, she's just having fun. She's having a good time. She's living her life. She's not hurting anybody and all of that stuff. This is taking the consent side out of it, right? So I'm just trying to kind of debunk the theory that it wasn't fair for him to have been sleeping with so many women. That's what the outrage is. I feel like that is like, that's nothing. These are adults consenting. This is what they did, you know. I just want to, like, would the outrage be the same if it was a white woman that came and was sleeping with all these men every day? She's getting a different man, two men a day. Like, would there still be outrage in that same way, you know? So I think there's a lot to this case. There's probably a lot that hasn't even been unearthed yet, but I think that we should definitely be aware of certain things. I think when it comes to relationships and dealing with people in another country, you have to be very, very, very careful. You know, he could have never gone to Dubai and done something like that. Never. I don't think he would even try it. So again, that's another thing that people are upset about. He's going to places where he feels like he could take advantage, or that's the school of thought, right? Where he feels like he could take advantage and do that. I highly doubt he would have gone to Dubai and tried to do something like that. It's not going to happen, you know. Their laws are very, very strict. So does that mean that Ghana needs to tighten up their laws when it comes to this? How do you tighten that up? What sort of regulations are we gonna put in? Where is the line? You know, there's a lot of thought that needs to go into it, and we have to be able to do it without being emotional, right? We have to look at the facts of the case. We have to look at the outcome of what has happened before we can necessarily even put things into play to say X, Y, and Z is okay, but, you know, B, C, and D is not okay. You know, we have to be able to distinguish so that the law works fairly, so that it just has to work fairly for all parties that are involved. But my personal opinion, do I agree with what he did, filming them without their consent? No, I don't agree with that. Do I believe that he is out of line for picking up so many women every day? No, I don't believe. Do I believe he's wrong for, if he didn't get consent and posting these videos? I do believe that that's wrong. But like I said, there's just so many details, so many intricate things that we possibly don't know. Things are going to been sensationalized. Some things have not risen to the top yet. It's still very up in the air. But anyway, I would love to hear what you guys think about it if you came across the story. Yeah, share your thoughts with me. I would love to hear it. If you would like to do a one-to-one consultation with me about moving to Ghana, you can send me an email to dela@moretodela.com. If you are coming to Ghana and you would like to have a nice soft landing, I have 2 one-bedroom apartments that are available for rent, long-term and short-term stay. So you can send me an email to the same email address. And also, let's not forget my shea butter. Fafa by Dela, those are being sold. I have some in the States and I have some in Ghana, so you can send me a message if you'd like to purchase those. Yeah, if not, there'll be a link in the description box if you'd like to purchase some of that. Okay. So that's the end of today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time, I am out.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of bird.